Mark Grace's suspension didn't come out of nowhere. It was the result of a horrifying DUI. And to make things worse, it wasn't even his first.
Mark Grace taking an indefinite leave of absence from the team.
One DUI is bad enough, but he had two. But that's not the only thing that's hurt his reputation. His time as a broadcaster has been just as messy, thanks to sexist comments and behavior that have only made things worse. Grace's troubles go way beyond just being a former baseball star. His issues off the field have followed him for years, damaging his reputation and costing him jobs. His legal troubles, questionable behavior in the broadcast booth, and controversial comments have all played a role in shaping the way people see him today. It all started with his troubles behind the wheel. Grace found himself in legal trouble, not just once, but twice for driving under the influence. His first arrest came in May 2011, a serious offense on its own. But he didn't seem to learn from that mistake. Just over a year later, in August 2012, he was arrested again for DUI, and this time, the situation was much worse. He was pulled over in Scottsdale, Arizona, and faced multiple charges. In addition to being suspected of driving under the influence, authorities discovered that he was driving with a suspended license, which only made matters worse. To top it off, he had failed to install an interlock device in his car, a requirement for people with prior DUI offenses. These violations painted a troubling picture, showing a pattern of reckless behavior. Things took an even more serious turn in October of that year, when a grand jury reviewed the case and indicted him on 4 felony counts. This meant his legal troubles had escalated far beyond a simple DUI charge. He was now facing potentially life-changing consequences. The Arizona Diamondbacks, where Grace had been working as a broadcaster, didn't waste any time distancing themselves from him. The day after his indictment, the team announced that he wouldn't be returning to the broadcast booth. A few months later, in January 2013, he pleaded guilty and received a 4-month jail sentence. However, his punishment didn't end there. In addition to serving time behind bars, he was placed on supervised probation for 2 years, meaning he had to regularly check in with authorities and follow strict rules to avoid further trouble. On top of that, he was required to have an interlock device installed in his vehicle for 6 months, preventing him from driving unless he passed a breathalyzer test. These measures were put in place to ensure he stayed accountable and didn't repeat his mistakes. While his DUI arrests were damaging enough, they weren't the only things that put a dent in his reputation. His behavior and comments, both in interviews and on live broadcasts, have sparked plenty of controversy over the years. One of the earliest examples of his controversial moments came in 2003 during an interview with Jim Rome. During the conversation, Grace made remarks that many people found crude, offensive, and sexist. He described a rather inappropriate method for breaking out of a sports slump, and his words quickly sparked backlash. The criticism was immediate, but the impact of that moment didn't fade over time. Instead, it became something that followed him throughout his career, damaging his reputation. Even when he transitioned into broadcasting, he struggled to stay out of trouble. Rather than learning from past mistakes, he continued to find himself at the center of controversy, making it clear that keeping a low profile was not his strong suit. Over the years, Grace has been criticized for his behavior while on air. There have even been times when viewers and critics questioned whether he was impaired during broadcasts. One of his biggest broadcasting blunders came in 2020 when he made an offhand remark about his ex-wife during a live broadcast. Without thinking, he referred to her as the dingbat, a comment that instantly sparked outrage. Viewers were quick to react, taking to social media to express their frustration, while media outlets also jumped on the controversy, criticizing him for his choice of words. The backlash was swift and widespread, with many people calling his remark disrespectful and unprofessional. His history of making controversial comments only made things worse, as critics pointed out that this was yet another example of his inability to filter himself on air. The reaction was strong enough that his employer had no choice but to take action. As a result, he was suspended once again, adding another stain to his already troubled broadcasting career. His actions have certainly cast a shadow over what was otherwise a strong career with impressive records. Grace's journey to the big leagues started long before he became a household name in baseball. Growing up in California, he was a talented athlete who stood out in multiple sports. He played both baseball and basketball at Tustin High School in Tustin, California, showing early on that he had the skills to go far. Even back then, it was clear that baseball was his true passion, and he worked hard to sharpen his game. After graduating in 1982, Grace didn't jump straight into a big-time college program. Instead, he took a different path, attending Saddleback College, a community college where he continued developing as a player. His time there helped him gain more experience and confidence on the field. Eventually, his talent caught the attention of a bigger school, and he transferred to San Diego State University to play for the San Diego State Aztecs. By the time he was 19, Grace had already made enough of an impression for Major League Baseball teams to take notice. In the 1984 MLB draft, the Minnesota Twins selected him in the 15th round, seeing potential in his abilities. But instead of signing with them and beginning his professional career right away, Grace decided to hold off. He wasn't ready to take that leap just yet, and instead chose to continue playing at the college level, fine-tuning his skills before making his next move. His journey to becoming one of the most consistent hitters of his time truly took off when the Chicago Cubs selected him in the 1985 Major League Baseball draft. But like most players, he didn't jump straight to the big leagues. Instead, he spent 3 years working his way through the Cubs' minor league system, sharpening his skills and proving that he was ready for the next level. All that hard work finally paid off on May 2nd, 1988, when he made his long-awaited Major League debut. Once he arrived in Chicago, Grace quickly became a key part of the Cubs lineup. He played alongside some of the franchise's biggest stars, including Ryne Sandberg, Andre Dawson, Shawan Dunston, and later, Sammy Sosa. Surrounded by such talent, Grace still managed to stand out as one of the most reliable and consistent hitters on the team. Over his 16-year career, he racked up an impressive 2,445 hits and more than 500 doubles, proving time and time again that he was a tough out at the plate. For several seasons, he was even trusted with the cleanup spot in the Cubs' batting order, a role that showed just how much faith the team had in his ability to drive in runs. His numbers throughout his career speak for themselves. He finished with a strong .383 on-base percentage, showing his ability to not only make contact, but also get on base consistently. His defense was just as strong as his hitting, earning him 4 Gold Glove awards for his work at first base. And when it came to being recognized among the league's best, Grace was a 3-time All-Star, earning selections in 1993, 1995, and 1997. Grace was especially dominant during the 1990s, putting up numbers that few could match. He led all major league players in total hits during the decade with 1,754, as well as in doubles with 364. To this day, he and Pete Rose remain the only 2 players in MLB history to lead an entire decade in hits and not be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He also had the most sacrifice flies in the 90s with 73, proving that he was always willing to do what it took to help his team score runs. Beyond his individual achievements, Grace also played a major role in the Cubs' success. He helped lead them to the NL East Division title in 1989 and then to the NL wildcard in 1998, giving Chicago fans plenty to cheer about. His performance in the 1989 National League Championship Series was nothing short of spectacular. In that 5-game series, he batted an astonishing .647, hitting a home run and 3 doubles while driving in 8 of the Cubs' total 16 runs. Even though the Cubs fell short in the series, Grace's performance was unforgettable. One of his best all-around seasons came in 1993, when he led the team in multiple offensive categories, including batting average, on-base percentage, hits, walks, doubles, and runs batted in, which was a career high for him. That same season, he hit for the cycle on May 9th, a rare achievement that only a handful of Cubs players have ever accomplished. As of the end of the 2018 season, he remains the most recent Cubs player to have done it. In 1995, Grace continued to show why he was one of the most valuable hitters in baseball. He put together another incredible season, batting .326 with a .395 on-base percentage and a .516 slugging percentage. He also led the entire National League with 51 doubles, once again proving his ability to find the gaps and keep the offense moving. His efforts earned him his second All-Star selection, and by that point, he had firmly established himself as one of the best first basemen in the game. As Grace's time with the Chicago Cubs came to an end, he didn't quite leave the game. He still had plenty of baseball left in him, and when the Cubs declined to offer him salary arbitration after the 2000 season, he found a new home with the Arizona Diamondbacks. On December 8, 2000, Grace signed a 2-year, $6 million contract with the team, which also included a mutual option for a third year at $3 million in 2003. Although he had been making $5.3 million in his final season with the Cubs, Grace actually took a pay cut to join the Diamondbacks. But for him, it wasn't just about the money. Moving to Arizona gave him the chance to live full-time in Scottsdale, where he had already established a home with his family. At the time of his signing, he made it clear that staying in Chicago simply wasn't in the cards. For me to remain a Cub, the Cubs would have wanted to want me back, and the Cubs would have had to win, he said. Neither of those happened, and I'm one proud Diamondback now. Wearing his familiar number 17, Grace continued to do what he did best: play solid first base and deliver at the plate. He spent 3 more seasons in Arizona, and while his regular season contributions were valuable, his biggest impact came in the postseason. In just his second year with the team, he helped lead the Diamondbacks to a championship run that ended with them hoisting the trophy as the 2001 World Series champions. For someone who had spent his entire career in the National League, Yankee Stadium was unfamiliar territory. He had never even set foot there before the World Series. But that didn't stop him from making his mark. In Game 4, he smashed a home run, proving that even on baseball's biggest stage, he could deliver in clutch moments. His most memorable moment, however, came in Game 7. With the Diamondbacks trailing in the bottom of the 9th inning, Grace led off with a single, his third hit of the game, off legendary Yankees closer Mariano Rivera. That hit sparked a rally that would eventually lead to one of the most dramatic World Series victories in history, securing Arizona's first-ever championship. Beyond the World Series, Grace also holds an impressive postseason record. His career .515 batting average in League Championship Series games is the highest of any player who has played in at least 10 games. That stat alone speaks to his ability to shine under pressure. While Grace was known for his skills as a hitter and fielder, he also had a great sense of humor, which was on full display in 2002. During a September game against the Los Angeles Dodgers, things got out of hand as the Diamondbacks found themselves on the wrong side of a 19-1 blowout. With the game all but over, Grace took the mound as a relief pitcher, adding a little lightheartedness to an otherwise brutal loss. His pitching debut wasn't exactly dominant. He gave up a home run to David Ross, marking the catcher's first career homer. But fans love seeing a position player take the mound. To make things even more entertaining, Grace decided to have a little fun by mimicking teammate Mike Fetter's exaggerated pitching motion. The moment became a fan favorite and showed that, even in tough times, Grace knew how to keep the game fun. By the time the 2003 season rolled around, Grace knew his playing days were coming to an end. After spending 16 years in Major League Baseball and making a name for himself with both the Cubs and Diamondbacks, he decided it was time to step away. On September 26, 2003, he officially announced his retirement from the game. Even after retiring as a player, Grace wasn't ready to walk away from baseball entirely. His love for the game ran too deep, and he had his sights set on staying involved in a new role, this time from the dugout rather than the batter's box. He had long expressed interest in one day managing a major league team, hoping to take on the challenge of leading a club from the top step. After the 2004 season, Grace's name was even in the mix for the Arizona Diamondbacks managerial position. With his deep baseball knowledge, leadership qualities, and World Series experience, he seemed like a strong candidate to take over the team he had helped win a championship just a few years earlier. However, when it came time to make a decision, the organization ultimately chose Bob Melvin for the job, passing over Grace for the position. Although managing in the big leagues didn't happen for him at that time, Grace wasn't discouraged. He remained committed to staying in the game, and in 2014, he took on a coaching role in the Diamondbacks minor league system. He joined the Hillsboro Hops, the team's Class A short-season affiliate in the Northwest League, serving as their hitting coach. It was a step toward gaining experience on the coaching side of baseball, working with young players and helping them develop their skills at the plate. Grace's time in the minors didn't last long, though. His contributions as a hitting coach in Hillsborough were recognized, and in 2015, the Diamondbacks promoted him to the Major League staff as their new hitting coach. It was a big opportunity for Grace, as he now had the chance to work directly with big league hitters, helping them fine-tune their approach at the plate and improve their overall production. For someone with his experience and knowledge of the game, it seemed like the perfect fit. Coaching at the major league level is a rare and valuable opportunity, and Grace was eager to make an impact. However, things didn't go as planned. Despite his efforts, the Diamondbacks struggled offensively, failing to put up the numbers the team had hoped for. Hitting slumps, inconsistency, and underperformance plagued the lineup. And as is often the case in baseball, when a team underachieves, changes must be made. After the 2016 season, the organization decided to part ways with Grace, bringing his time as a coach to an abrupt end. It was undoubtedly a disappointing end to his tenure with the team, as he had hoped to leave a lasting mark on the players he worked with. However, the setback didn't change his passion for the game. Baseball had been a central part of his life for decades. And even though his coaching role didn't last as long as he had wanted, he remained dedicated to the sport that had shaped his career. Even after stepping away from his coaching role, Mark Grace wasn't ready to leave baseball behind. His passion for the game kept pulling him back, and he found a new way to stay involved, this time as a television color commentator. His deep knowledge of baseball, combined with his lively personality and signature sense of humor, made him a natural fit for the broadcast booth. Grace had always been known for his charisma and ability to connect with fans, so when he transitioned from playing on the field to calling the action from the booth, it felt like a seamless move. His years of experience as a player gave him valuable insight, allowing him to break down plays and strategies in a way that was both informative and engaging. Grace quickly became a familiar voice for Arizona Diamondbacks fans, working as a commentator for the team's television broadcasts. His energetic and sometimes unfiltered style made him stand out, and fans enjoyed hearing his perspective on the game. But he didn't limit himself to just covering the Diamondbacks. Before long, he expanded his reach and landed a role with Fox Saturday Baseball, giving him the opportunity to call games on a national stage. This was a major step in his broadcasting career, as it allowed him to bring his unique personality and deep baseball knowledge to a wider audience. True to form, Grace brought his own flair to the broadcasts, using colorful and sometimes off-the-wall phrases that quickly became a signature part of his style. Instead of sticking to the usual commentary cliches, he added his own touch with expressions like slump buster, never say Diamondbacks, and gas, each one injecting a little extra personality into his calls. Fans came to appreciate these signature sayings as they added a fun and memorable twist to his broadcasts. Whether he was breaking down a key play, sharing a personal story, or cracking a joke, Grace made sure his time in the booth was never dull. During his early years as a broadcaster, Grace was paired with Tom Brenneman from 2004 to 2006, creating a dynamic duo in the booth. When Brenneman moved on, Grace teamed up with Darren Sutton from 2007 to 2012, forming another well-known broadcasting partnership for Diamondbacks coverage. Beyond his work with the Diamondbacks, Grace expanded his broadcasting career by joining Fox Sports in 2007. His role with the network gave him the chance to showcase his baseball knowledge on a larger stage. At first, he rotated between working in the studio and calling games as part of the network's number 3 broadcast team. Though he was relatively new to national television, his experience as a former player, combined with his natural ability to break down the game, helped him stand out among other analysts. His time in the booth didn't go unnoticed. Viewers and network executives took note of his energetic style and entertaining commentary, leading to a big opportunity. In 2008, Grace was promoted to the network's number 2 broadcast team, where he reunited with play-by-play announcer Tom Brenneman. For the next 2 seasons, the duo worked together, calling some of the biggest matchups in baseball. Grace's growing presence on national broadcasts further cemented his reputation as a colorful and knowledgeable analyst. By 2010, he found himself working alongside veteran broadcaster Dick Stockton, continuing to bring his signature enthusiasm and insight to every game he covered. Then in 2011, he reunited with Brenneman once again for what would ultimately be his final season with Fox Sports. After the season ended, the network decided to make a change, replacing Grace with former MLB first baseman Eric Karros. It was an unexpected shift, and just like that, his time with Fox Sports had come to an end. Unfortunately, Grace's broadcasting career took another hit in 2012 when he requested an indefinite leave of absence from his role with the Diamondbacks. Though the reasons were not immediately clear, it was a sign that things were beginning to change for him. Later that year, the Diamondbacks made it official, announcing that Grace would not be returning for the 2013 season. However, after a few years away from the booth, Grace found his way back into broadcasting. In February 2017, he rejoined Fox Sports Arizona as a baseball analyst for Diamondbacks games, proving that his connection to the game was still strong. Then in 2020, Grace took another big step in his broadcasting career by expanding his duties even further. That year, he was hired by Marquee Sports Network to work as an analyst for select Chicago Cubs games. For Grace, this was a homecoming of sorts, as he had spent a large part of his playing career with the Cubs and remained a beloved figure among the team's fan base. His deep connection to the franchise, combined with his lively personality and sharp baseball mind, made him a natural fit for the role. Despite taking on this new opportunity with the Cubs, Grace didn't step away from his longtime position with the Diamondbacks. He continued to serve as the lead color commentator for the team's broadcasts on Fox Sports Arizona, balancing his responsibilities between both teams. Juggling two broadcasting roles wasn't easy, but Grace embraced the challenge. Whether he was breaking down games for Cubs fans in Chicago or calling Diamondbacks action in Arizona, he brought the same energy, humor, and insight that had made him a fan favorite in the booth. His ability to work with both organizations highlighted not only his versatility as a broadcaster, but also his lasting impact on the game. Grace's career had taken him from the field to the booth, and now, with two teams relying on his expertise, he was proving once again that his passion for baseball and his ability to connect with fans was as strong as ever. On the field, he was a fan favorite, a clutch hitter, and a key piece of both the Chicago Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks. His ability to consistently get on base, rack up hits, and play solid defense earned him multiple Gold Glove awards and a reputation as one of the best first basemen of his time. His biggest moment came in 2001 when he helped the Diamondbacks win their first World Series, even delivering a crucial hit in Game 7 against the Yankees. After retiring, Grace transitioned into coaching and broadcasting. He had dreams of managing a major league team but never got the chance. Instead, he spent time as a hitting coach, trying to pass on his knowledge to younger players. While his coaching career was short-lived, his work as a broadcaster kept him in the game for years. His unique personality and memorable catchphrases made him entertaining to listen to, whether he was calling games for the Diamondbacks, Cubs, or on national broadcasts with Fox Sports. But despite all his success, controversy followed him. Multiple DUI arrests tarnished his reputation, leading to suspensions and time away from the spotlight. His off-the-cuff comments during broadcasts also drew criticism, with some finding his humor inappropriate. One of the biggest incidents came in 2020 when he referred to his ex-wife as the dingbat on air, which led to another suspension. Grace's legacy is a complicated one. He was a talented player, a charismatic broadcaster, and a man who struggled with personal missteps. His career had incredible moments, but his controversies will always be a part of his story. That wraps up today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update. See you in the next one. Bye.